And it's hard to follow up a lot of you graduates because I didn't know that the program required you all to be stylish and funny and kind of like pretty cool. So I'm just asking, where's my intern at? So maybe I'm not as, top level as the borough president or Jumaane Williams or even Michael Blake, but I do know all three of them, so that must count for something. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to see you. It must be a pretty cool day, right? You get to really mark an accomplishment in your life, and I want to tell you that you just being a part of this program puts you really, I think, leap years ahead of a lot of young people. When I was your age, I kind of just wanted to hang out, get a job. Minimum wage then was like $5.15. And for you to be here, to want to be a part of your community, to be engaged, it really, really does mean a lot. And every single, I think, movement that has changed this country has been led by young people. So whatever you do, if you want to be a CEO or a chef or you want to be the president, every single opportunity that you have, take advantage of it and do what you can and capitalize on that opportunity. I've worked as a camp counselor, I've worked as a paralegal, I've done all types of jobs, and every single one just taught me the type of boss, employee, and person that I wanted to be. So it might seem like maybe you're fixing the storage room, but that'll teach you about organizing and what it means to have things available to you so you can get it done. So I'm really, really excited. I want to thank Generation Citizen. This is a super cool program. Every single person was rad. You were all amazing, and I'm so excited. And as was mentioned, I was raised by a single mom in the Lower East Side. We didn't have a lot of money. My mother was always looking for me to put me in a program that was free or had a scholarship available. You know how that is. And that was just to keep me out of trouble. And growing up in New York City, it's interesting, right? So my mother comes here from Puerto Rico. She can't speak any English. My dad and most of my family grows up or still lives in public housing. I grow up in Section 8. We're on programs like WIC. My mother's just trying to find money for transportation and laundry and to send me on field trips. And it's hard. This city is difficult, but this is the greatest city in the world. And if you could make it here, and if you could form these relationships and build this support network, just know there are a lot of people here that support you. There's family and there's friends, and there's people a part of community-based organizations that want you to succeed. And I'm just a humble councilwoman. I'm one of 51 members, but just know that you have an ally and you have a friend in City Hall. And I just want to say for some of the ladies here, there are only 12 women in the city council. So we need you in public service, front of house or back of house. And I'll be your senior advisor. So when I was growing up, I always wanted to also make sure that I didn't let my family down, right? Like I was making them proud, that I was doing the right thing. It's not always easy. And being able to work in my community, that was one of my first jobs. My first kind of dip into politics, when I was going to college, there was a guy who was president, his name was George W. Bush. We didn't really align politically on most things. I even knew that in college. And I worked at something called the Marist Institute for Public Opinion. You ever watch the news and people say, recent polls show that no one likes the president? Well, I was one of those people that would call and ask you what you thought of the president and the job he was doing. It was just a job on campus. It was the highest paying job in college, so I took that clearly. But it was also such an interesting experience for me to talk to people from all over the country and realize that even though someone might be in Oregon or South Dakota or in Brooklyn, we all have these unique experiences, and it's so important that we tell our story. Because you wouldn't think you had anything in common with someone from Houston, Texas, but they're going through a lot of the same struggles, and having that collective vision to really put a path forward to lift people out of poverty and to help each other, I think that's a universal message of love, acceptance, and tolerance that we can preach anywhere. So I'm excited because I get to be in the city council and represent my hometown where I was born and raised in the Lower East Side, and I get to do some pretty cool stuff. On the way though, it was a difficult and challenging path. A lot of people would ask me questions like, why do you want to do this? You're so young. Aren't you going to get married soon? Really like inappropriate stuff. But those questions of people constantly kind of doubting you, saying you're not going to be able to do something, it's going to keep happening. You're young, people of color, people from low-income families, they're going to assume that you're going to be able to reach a certain bar. And just know that you can go as high as you want with hard work and dedication and commitment. And I know that sometimes it seems hard. Family stuff, friends, school is kind of a headache. If you're not in college yet, college is way better than high school, so get going. And it is important to have people that support you. Not everyone has, even a single mom, I realize that even one supportive parent is a privilege. And so being able to have that, being able to have a congresswoman like Nydia Velázquez that I could look up to, not everyone has that. But so you know that there are people like me who never thought she'd be a politician, never thought she'd be able to represent 170,000 people in the greatest city in the world. It's totally possible. So I just want to let you all know that whatever you decide on and whatever your background is, use it. Use it to tell your story. Because like I said, young people have been the face of the most important movements in the world, in our history. We're talking the Civil Rights Movement, Black Lives Matter, the Sunrise Movement, the movement for bicycle rights. I mean, it's all because people wanted to be there and they wanted to take a chance, and you all are ready to do that. So I want you to tell your story. And I know sometimes you might think, who wants to hear from me? I thought the same thing. I thought, who wants to hear from a Puerto Rican, from the Lower East Side, who didn't really grow up having anything, so what do I have to talk about? But being able to share that with people, I cannot tell you how many young people, people of all ages come up to me and say, you know, I grew up with a single mom too, or a single parent, or by my grandparents. I didn't grow up with much. How did you get into politics? You know, I joined my community board. I worked at a local organization called Good Lower East Side, organizing tenants, working on environmental justice and economic security and making sure that people have food. And maybe public service is not your path. I know some of you it is. Maybe it's not your path, but whatever it is, being able to talk to people and have that experience of being able to be in their shoes and hear from them and put a face to that struggle is important. So I know even with a dream and a passion or a will to make it out, people, myself included, grew up being told that our place was maybe taking care of our families, or maybe just getting a job with a pension, which is okay too. Many men were told that they're never going to amount to anything besides a 9 to 5 and barely paying the rent. But that notion that we can't rise above our station has kept some of our community's best and brightest down. So I want you to know that we are here for you, because the politicians in Washington, they don't realize that we succeed as a country because of this diversity. And when you look at what is happening in Washington, how many women are serving, the youngest woman in Congress ever. Please know that you can do it. So I'm excited. I think that we all will succeed because of our challenges, because we have those stories to tell. And being the youngest woman in the city council, but there's even a city council member younger than I am. So we need that. We need you all over. We need you in the public advocate's office. We need you at Citizens Action. We need people everywhere gaining that experience, because you are the leaders of tomorrow. You are the ones that are taking on climate change. You're taking on artificial intelligence. Someone here is going to improve Instagram. I'm sure of it. And I'm excited. So that notion that ceilings weren't made to be broken is only going to end if our leaders begin to actually look like the people they represent. And so I wanted you to know that I'm here to tell you that there are just regular people in elected office who want to do the best, who want to represent you the best way that they can, and you all are the future. And I have to say that the future looks pretty bright. So congratulations, graduates, class of 2019. Keep safe, okay? And I want to thank Generation Citizen, because again, you all are in a program that's going to allow you to grow. And listen, look me up, follow me, let me know what's up. I would love to have you in the Lower East Side, show you a little bit about my hometown, where I'm from, and what it's like to be a woman of color in politics, which is a boys club, an industry where we need more women and people of color. So I just want want to thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.